Hi, this is Richard Kinky Big Dick Friedman. It's my full Christian name. And you are listening to the podcast Fascination Street.
I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with Chris Kidwell from the new band Texas Taliban. Texas Taliban is a 5-piece hardcore thrash band out of El Paso, Texas. And their new 5-song EP, Runs on Hate, came out April 6th on Pavement Entertainment. In this episode, we talk about where Chris was born and raised, what got him into music, and how he transitioned from the kind of music he started listening to the kind of music he plays. We also talk about why it's important to expand your horizons and go see some stuff you haven't seen before and listen to things you haven't heard before. We talk about his other band, Not My Master, and where you can go hear their music. And finally, Chris lets me play one of the songs off the new 5-song EP Runs on Hate, which happens to be my favorite track on the album. Physical copies are available on Amazon and other places. Go find it. That's Texas Taliban. And I hope you enjoy it. I dig the song. I think it's very refreshing. It has a lot of different influences in which you can hear as you listen. And of course, I thank Chris for risking his ass in all those years in the United States Army. Thanks again, Chris. I appreciate all you have done and all you continue to do. This is my conversation with Chris Kidwell from Texas Taliban.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Chris Kidwell. How you doing today, Chris?
Doing great, man. How are you?
I am wonderflonium. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this here is the vocalist for the new band Texas Taliban out of El Paso. His name is Chris, and we're going to get to know him today. So, Chris, why don't you start off with telling us where you were born and raised, man? Where'd you grow up?
From Corsicana, Texas. It's just outside of Dallas. I lived there pretty much my whole life, man. I dig it. I love it. I'm a Texan. I'm a true Texan. I love Texas. I love Dallas, Texas. So that's my home, man. That's where I'm from.
So what was growing up in Corsicana like? Were you into football? Did you play soccer? Were you a band geek in school? What was that like?
Well, I played a little bit of football, man, but I kind of turned into, like, what do you call it, man? A little punk rocker. Corsicana's not very big, so there's like a lot of rednecks there, a lot of hicks. So got a lot of fights, got a lot of shit like that because I had long hair and all kinds like that. They're very church-oriented there, so very interesting growing up.
Very church-oriented. I think I read somewhere that Corsicana is the meth capital of Texas.
Yeah, I don't know if they still hold the title, but if they don't, they're damn sure like a runner-up.
So did they pass the plate at church, or how does that work?
I'm not too sure, man.
So what made you leave, man? Why'd you get out of there?
I joined the Army, man, and wanted to see the world. And I did. I see the world. I've been to Europe. I lived in Europe. I've been to Cyprus. I've been to Spain, Germany, of course, Iraq. Been all over, man. And that's why I joined.
Is that why you joined? Was so you could see the world?
See the world and get out of that little shithole town.
What about all your friends from that town? Did they go with you?
No, I think most of them ended up in prison or in jail, or I think they're dead.
Well,
so, yeah.
Mazel tov.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, man. That sucks.
Oh, that's cool, man. It's life, bro.
Hey, but you got out. That's the important thing. So why did you get out of the Army? I'm assuming that's why you're in El Paso is because
I got out of the Army, dude. I was tired of going to Iraq. I was in Iraq every other year. I was tired of it. I got completely burned out, man. So went to see the doctors. The doctor said, hey, you're done. And they retired me. So here I am.
Because of a bad knee?
Bad back. I got really bad back problems, man. I've had back problems. Yeah, I've had back problems for, years.
What do you think that's from?
Just all the weight you carry in combat, and the Army really pushes you, man. It's really hard on your body.
So you're always just carrying a whole lot of shit, like a huge pack?
Pretty much.
Gotcha. Well, how long were you in?
2 years.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you getting in there and defending this great country of ours, man. Thank you so much.
No problem, man.
Well, a little bit of a problem in that, you know, your back's all messed up. And
I can't say it was all doom and gloom. I mean, I had some really great times and made some really good friendships in the Army, man. So, I mean, it wasn't all doom and gloom, man. And I got to experience the world. I got to experience other cultures and customs and things like that. So it kind of opened my eyes and broadened my horizon. You know what I mean?
I do. Often I think that, when we are maybe too afraid or just don't have the initiative to get out of our small town, we don't really see what's out there, and we don't get to experience other cultures and see other things in other places. And I think that we can get sort of stuck in, our little tiny town, and this is all that there is. So, and if
Right.
your little tiny town doesn't have a whole lot of opportunity or promise for you, I think that can make some folks pretty depressed. So I'm glad that you got out and went to go see some cool shit.
I did, man. I really did.
That is awesome. How old were you when you decided that you wanted to be a musician, and how did that happen?
Oh, man. I think I was like a little shit, dude. I think I was like 8 or 9, actually. My mom played some Bob Seger for me, believe it or not. And I just fucking fell in love with music. And I'm always listening to music, so it made a big impact on me.
And when did you know that you could play an instrument? Do you play an instrument?
Yeah, I play a little guitar, but it's mostly like punk rock tunes. So it's like 3 chords. So I'm no Eddie Van Halen or anything.
3 chords really fast.
Yeah, it's shitty.
So you got into music at a fairly young age, and you were basically introduced through Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. When did you sort of switch your musical tastes? Because Texas Taliban, which is your new band, is definitely not Bob Seger.
No way. I think I was a teenager, man. My first punk rock band I got into was the Misfits. I think that's everyone's fucking first band. But from there, the Casualties, Social Distortion, bands like that. I was just really much into punk rock, and then, Pantera came along. And, of course, I'm from that area. So, man, they blew me away, man. So I kind of switched genres when I was a teenager.
Years and years and years ago, I took my little brothers to go see Pantera. I think it was the Cowboys from Hell tour. That's how long ago it was.
No.
My little brothers at the time, they were, I don't know, maybe middle school. So, they're pretty young. And it was at the Alamo Dome or some shit here in San Antonio. And their biggest song at the time was Cemetery Gates. That's the one I think that got the most airplay or whatever.
Yeah.
And when they started to play that song, the crowd went crazy. And they got about a third of the way into it and then stopped. And then Phil Anselmo's the singer, right?
Yeah.
Phil said, "Man, we hate this fucking song." And then they did not finish it. They just went on to another song. Yeah, that was hilarious.
I think like after a while, you get tired of playing your sample songs over and over, man. So I kind of feel what he's saying right there.
I get it, but man, you should have heard the booze.
Oh, I bet, dude. His voice on that track, man. His voice was fucking phenomenal, man.
Yeah, I think maybe he was just tired of performing that song at that level every time, because that's a hard fucking song to sing.
Yeah.
So Texas Taliban is not your only band. It's just your newest band. And it's kind of a side project, if you don't mind me saying that.
No, I don't. No, Master is my baby, man. It's a little monster. But Texas Taliban is kind of like, I consider that Eric's band. That's his band. And I'm just privileged to sing in it, or scream, whatever you want to say I'm doing.
Listeners, Texas Taliban consists of Chris Kidwell on vocals, who we're talking to now, Eric King on lead guitar, Ramsey Speed on drums, Hex Lee on rhythm guitar, and Crystal Lopez on bass. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
How did you all meet?
We all played a local scene. So I got with Eric, I think about 2 years ago. We did like a little side project. He does like a lot of witch house and stuff like that and industrial type music. And he had this track he hit me up about, and I can't remember the name of it. But we hit off from there. And then he hit me up about a year ago for Texas Taliban. Or I think I hit him up. I can't remember. But he had this music. He sent it to me. And I was like, well, I was just blown away by it. And it was fucking just phenomenal. That's a very talented man.
So this was right in the middle of COVID, about a year ago?
Yeah, it was.
And all of the other people in this band that I just mentioned, they all have other bands as well, right?
Yeah, they all have other bands. We kind of just all got together, and Eric put it together. It's kind of like a local scene super group. These guys are just, God damn it, they all just blow me away. They're so talented, man. And it really is a privilege for me to be in the band with these guys.
We've already established that Texas Taliban, and Not My Master for that matter, are not Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. How would you describe the sound of Texas Taliban?
Well, somebody called it Murder Thrash, so we kind of went with that name. We call it Texas Murder Thrash now. And I think that really sticks with it. And it's kind of groovy. So if you're really into that kind of stuff, man, you're really going to dig us.
So I have listened to the EP. The new EP is called Runs on Hate. There's 5 songs. It came out on April 6th on Pavement Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this is not offensive, but I would consider the music, like if somebody asked me to describe it, I would say death metal, or hardcore, because that's what we used to call it back in the day.
Yeah.
Is that offensive?
No, I think there's elements of death metal in it. And of course, I feel like there's some hardcore punk in there. No, it's not offensive at all, man. I kind of agree with that statement.
Cool. Now, since this band basically formed in the middle of a global pandemic, have you guys had a chance to play together live in front of folks?
Man, we have not yet. All we've been doing now is just getting together and practicing, rehearsing, and stuff like that. Because of the COVID, we haven't got anything show-wise lined up, except for, I think, August or late May. We have a death metal festival in Toledo. It's a Toledo Death Fest. So we got picked up for that. We're playing some really awesome bands, Jungle Rock, The Convalescents, a lot of other cool bands, man. So we're really good lucked out on that. And I thank Greg from Wavelength for hooking that up, man.
Is Bob Seger going to be there?
No, I wish, man. I wish, dude. I'd like to meet that guy.
You still listen to some Bob Seger? Because you don't just listen to thrash, right?
Yeah, I listen to everything, man, from Post Malone to Lionel Richie to George Strait, Cody Jinks, Tyler Childers. I listen to everything, man.
Why?
I believe you should, as a musician, if you only listen to one genre, man, you're going to be stuck in that little box and you're never going to grow. I like to think of music as an ocean. There's a whole ocean out there, man. So, soak it in.
Sort of expand your horizons and don't lock in your artistic abilities, right?
Yeah. Don't put yourself in a box.
Yeah, everybody else is quick to put you in a box, so why do it to yourself, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned a bunch of different styles of music, but you didn't mention Tejano. And I feel like there are some Tejano influences on the very last song, which is my personal favorite. The last song on this EP is called Tu Rey Muerto. I feel like there's some definite Tejano influence there. Am I wrong?
No, I feel like we're in El Paso. It's a border city. So we're very much about the culture here. So we kind of want to incorporate that type of style into our music. You know what I mean?
I do.
There may be somebody out there like that lives in, I don't know, Montana or, one of these little small rural towns in the middle of nowhere that hasn't had a taste of that type of music before. You know what I mean?
I do. And much like when you got to see the world with the Army, I think that it's a really cool way for you to, sort of send out some other kind of music to people who might not have heard it, sort of broaden their horizons and whatnot, if you will.
Right. Exactly.
I think that's dope. Now, as I said, Tu Rey Muerto is my favorite song on the CD. Are there physical copies? I just called it a CD. Are there physical copies?
Yeah. I don't think Pavement was expecting us to sell out everywhere, physical copy wise. So we sold out, I think, within 36 hours with our online physical copy stores. I know Amazon's restocked. I don't know too sure about the other places, but yeah, I had a few people tell me they got their CD this week. So that was really cool.
Take that, Pavement.
Yeah. But hey, Pavement is, man, my hat's off to Tim and Mark there, Barbara. They've really been really patient with us. This whole COVID thing just put everything put us way behind.
I can't even imagine what that has done to the music industry because I'm not in it. And I especially can't imagine what it's done to people who make their bread and butter that way. Like all those folks you just mentioned, like they run basically a record company and I don't even know how hats off to them, like you said.
Yeah.
But back to Tu Rey Muerto, as I said, it's my favorite song and it's okay to say no, but would it be okay if I played that song right here?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Do you want to intro it like you're a radio DJ? I mean, if any of these songs are going to make the radio, it will be this one.
Yeah, that one's actually on the radio. I think we're number 26 on the college radio charts.
That's amazing.
We're doing pretty good. Metal Connection. Yeah, thank you. Metal Connection. I think we debuted at number 30 or 31 or something like that. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, man, we're doing pretty good.
So I can play it?
Yeah, sure, man. All
right, man. Hit those knobs and switches, Mr. DJ. Intro this song.
All right. This is Chris, and you're listening to Texas Taliban, Tu Rey Muerto on Fascination Street.
Perfect. You have no idea how hard it is for me to get people to do that. Like they've never heard the radio before.
That's right. I started getting used to it.
What is that song about?
That song's about, I hit a really low place in my life. I was doing things I should have been doing. It's really hard to come from the bottom. So that's what it's about. That's exactly what it's about, man.
So Tu Rey Muerto means you're dead king? All right.
You're dead king, yeah.
You're dead king. Okay.
Hey, Streetwalkers. Here's a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Streetwalkers. Well, you're not literally streetwalkers. But now that I've got your attention, I am Stephen O'Reilly, and I have a podcast called The Bar Star Podcast. And since you're listening to the Fascination Street podcast, I think you should check out my show. It's just as interesting without all the famous people, because Steve has connections that I just do not have. But if you dig podcasts about music, working musicians, and other random shit that I decided to talk about, based around music, of course, because that's what I do. I'm a working musician for the past 30 years, then you need to check out the Bar Star Podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcast, on any platform. Now back to the one and only Steve Owens and whatever the hell he was talking about.
Let's get back into it.
Now, are you the lyricist? Do you write all the lyrics for these songs?
Yes, I do.
And where does that well of energy come from? Because I know that believe it or not, it's a little hard for me to understand some of the lyrics, but they sound pretty angry. Are you an angry person?
Pretty much, man.
Really?
Pretty much. Yeah. I try to calm myself down, but I'm just a very energetic person, very passionate. So that's where my lyrics, my music come from.
Gotcha.
I don't want to fake it. I think there's a lot of fakes out there. Like, how can you sing about going to combat if you've never been to combat? How can you sing about being poor if you've never been poor? I think a lot of rich kids, that's why part we don't like music that's on the radio today, is because all these rich kids get on the radio and they get there on the radio because they have money.
So what do you think about songwriters who are not performers? Like a previous guest of mine, she quit doing it because it was soul sucking and she hated it. But for several years, her job was to sit in a cubicle and write songs for other people to sing. So in the sort of example that you just mentioned about the kids that are on the radio today, I feel like a lot of those songs are handed to them. They didn't write them. There was some producer said, here, sing this. Right. What are your opinions about that avenue of, I guess, not songwriting, but performing?
I don't know. I guess each into their own, but, I couldn't write a song for somebody else because that's mine. That comes from me. I'm very protective of what I do, regardless of a monetary amount. I'm not going to whore myself out like that. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. And everybody has their own opinion about that. But for me, I would never do that.
Well, that sucks. I was going to ask you to write a song about my birthday. When you sing, it's you said yourself, some might consider it screaming, but it's singing and it's screaming and it's guttural and it's full of energy and raw. At the end of that performance, do you feel just like a weight lifted off your shoulder? Do you feel like, this is going to sound stupid, but in essence, do you feel like you have excised a demon, gotten rid of some toxins or whatever the fuck, some bad thoughts and bad energy?
Yeah, I do. I do actually. Sometimes I come off stage, I'm just totally exhausted. Like I have to leave. I just like to leave. I know a lot of times people want to sit back and party and stuff, but most of the time after performance, I'm just totally, totally exhausted, mentally and physically. Because I really do. I don't just stand there and try to serenade you behind a microphone. I get down and dirty, man. So sometimes I'll jump in the pit and shit like that.
Oh, like a barbecue pit? Just kidding.
Yeah. It feels like a barbecue.
Yeah, I bet. It's good to know that there's still pits.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully there will be after COVID. Is El Paso a pretty thrash-friendly town?
Yeah, I think El Paso's known for its death metal. Really great bands here. Here After the Wave, Abaddon, or Abaddon, however you want to say it. Terror. A lot of great bands here, man. Very privileged. I'm very honored to be from here.
Well, you're not from there, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I'm really privileged.
I understand what you mean. So are there a bunch of clubs and that kind of thing? Or is that still, am I just an old person? Are there still clubs?
Yeah, there's still clubs here. You got the Rock House here. You have B17. You have a few other clubs here that still play metal and have shows and stuff like that. So it's a pretty decent scene here.
Now, for those listening, you can't see, but Chris has a ridiculously long beard. And right now it's, in ponytails or whatever. Do you ever step on it during a show?
No, but when I eat, man, somehow the bottom of my beard gets in my fork. So I'm still trying to figure out how that happens.
That's amazing. Anything else terrible happen with your beard?
Sometimes when I go to like we're on tour or something, we stop at a truck stop or something, take a shower or, use the bathroom. Sometimes when I go and take a shit or something, I sit down and the bottom of my beard gets on the top of the toilet. That's just so disgusting, man.
That's
so, Yeah, I had to go wash my beard when I'm done.
As soon as you come out of there, you should hug the nearest trucker.
No shit.
So your other band, Not My Master, what is that music like? Is it different?
Yeah, I think it's more groovy, more nasty. You listen to it, you feel like you need to take a shower. I'll tell you, we're working on our new album now. I don't think it'll be finished until the end of the year, but our first CD was called Not My Master Disobey. It sounds nothing like that. It's way heavier, way just more guitarals, more fucking, it's more groovy death, I'd say. I'd say groovy, brutal death metal type shit.
Sweet. How much do your parents like your music? What do they think about it?
My mom loves it.
Really?
Oh yeah, my mom loves it. My mom turned me on to music, so she's a big music fan. So, but she's mostly into bands like Pearl Jam and Screaming Trees and Candlebox and things like that.
Sure. Is she still back in the Dallas area, or is she down there by you?
Yeah, she lives in Burleson, just outside of Fort Worth.
Oh, okay. But she's super stoked about your new jams.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, dude. She loves it, dude. She loves it, man.
That is kick-ass, my dude.
It is.
What are the plans for Not My Master going forward? Like, let's just assume, well, Texas is fully open. What are your plans with Not My Master? I know you said you guys are writing another album, but are there any touring plans for that band?
Yeah, I think we're going to do some shows later on in the year, probably more towards the summer. Maybe some local shows, but mostly probably out-of-town shows here in Texas, part of Arizona. I think maybe Cali. We do well in California with Not My Master. So those are pretty open right now.
And where can people find music by Not My Master to check out?
Spotify, I think Deezer. I think all the digital platforms they can find us on.
Oh, cool. Is there a particular song that you would recommend people start with?
Probably a Cadence. It's the very first song on there. It's one I like the most. We did a cover of Glenn Danzig's How the Gods Kill.
Nice.
What else? It was a pretty good CD.
Kick ass. And the new one is going to be nothing like that. It's going to be harder and
oh yeah, it's
nastier.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for Texas Taliban as far as, I know you mentioned Toledo Death Fest or whatever, but other than that, is there anything on the horizon? You guys looking at some dates?
Yeah, we're looking at some dates right now. We're looking at hopping on a tour with a bigger band, things like that. Those things are in the works. I think Greg from Wavelength and our manager, Sarah, is working those deals. So it looks pretty good so far. Looks like I'm going to have a busy year.
Nice. Well, if you want, I can put a call in to Bob Seger and see if he needs an opening band.
Oh, yeah, totally, man.
That'd be amazing. You might give that dude a heart attack.
Oh, I think he'd dig it.
Well, you know, he probably would. He probably would. He seems like the kind of guy who he doesn't get offended by music and sort of listens to maybe a bunch of different shit.
Right.
I told you what my favorite song on the new EP, Runs on Hate, is. What is your favorite song?
I think America's my favorite.
Why? E-America, right?
Yeah. The Empire of America. So I spelled it like that. Why is it my favorite? I think it's just really heavy. It starts out really cool. I'm not a big law enforcement fan. I like good cops. I don't like bad cops. So it kind of goes into that, like we're the most incarcerated country in the world, but we were supposedly the freest. So I go into that type of stuff in lyrically.
Let me write this down. You don't like bad cops. Got it.
Don't I?
I see a motorcycle behind you. Do you ride? I'm assuming yes.
Yes.
Do you have a group of fellows that you ride with?
I sure do. I ride with a bunch of guys that I consider my brothers and stuff. We pretty much just ride everywhere, man. It's fun. It's what I love to do. I'm all about some motorcyclism.
Do you consider them your brothers because you guys serve together?
Some I served with, some I didn't. But I consider them brothers because it's like a family. Very family-oriented, very about each other and care about each other deeply.
Gotcha.
So I love it.
Very cool. Since you don't have drums or a guitar to carry around when you go on tour, you're just going to take your bike?
No, I just carry my microphone in my pocket. That's it. When they say it's time for loading, I was like, okay, cool, I'm done.
There's a guy, you probably know who he is, but he's a sort of a Jewish reggae rapper named Modest Yahoo out of New York. When he goes on tour, I don't know if he still does, but the couple of times I've seen him, he follows the tour bus on his motorcycle.
That's pretty badass, man. That's pretty badass.
So like, you know, there's the tour bus, and then the tour bus is pulling a trailer full of stuff, and then he's behind it on his motorcycle. Which sounds cool, except for the last time that I went to go see him, they couldn't make it because his motorcycle broke down on the side of the road.
Oh, shit, man. That sucks, dude. He must have riding a Harley.
It was, yeah. I've heard that to own a Harley, you either have to have a lot of money or know how to fix them.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree with that statement.
So which are you?
I ride a Dyna right now. This is a victory to background. But I'm privileged to say that my Dyna has yet to break down, and I've had it for 6 years now. So,
oh, congrats!
Yeah, thanks, because that's a big accomplishment with the Harley.
Yeah, no shit. Well, Chris, I know that I've kept you for a while today, and I appreciate you making the time. Since everybody's got COVID and we're all about to die. But before I let you go, is there anything I didn't ask you or we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about today? Did I miss anything?
No, I just want everybody listening to hey, man, if you love music, hey, support your local bands, man. Every single band started out as a local band. And if they're good and they're badass, man, hey, support those dudes. Help them push it to make it to the next level. Buy their merch, buy their CDs, pay to get inside. Because it's hard right now, especially right now with COVID. It's really hard to make a living off this.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think that everybody should, if you want new music from a band you like, they're going to have to pay some bills or they're going to have to quit doing it. So even if they don't have new music, go buy some of their merch, buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, buy another album, buy an album and give it away. It doesn't really matter. If for some reason their website has a tip jar, tip that jar. Because if we don't support our musicians and our bands right now when they can't go to tour and make money, a lot of them are going to go away. A lot of bands are not going to be here by the end of this if we don't all band together and support them. Oh, where can everybody find you on social media?
If they're looking for me, they can find me on Instagram, Facebook. I think I have a Twitter, but I haven't really used it. Band-wise, same thing. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and things like that. This all the social media platforms, pretty much.
So you personally, what would your handle be? How would somebody find you?
They can find me on Instagram as Kidwell03 or Tu Rey Muerto, or they can find me on Facebook, Christo Kidwell. I spelled the Welsh way because I'm Welsh. Cydwell.
Yeah, you look Welsh.
Yeah, thanks.
And the band is, how do you spell the band? Is it the Texas Taliban or just Texas Taliban?
It's Texas Taliban. On Instagram, it's Texas_Taliban. On Facebook, it's Texas Taliban, but the B is a 3 because Facebook won't let us put Taliban. So we had to use a 3.
Thanks, Mark Zuckercorn.
Yeah, right.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to hang out and let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And you have a great rest of your week, man.
You too.
Hey, Streetwalkers, it's time for a giveaway. Thanks to our generous friends at Sylvania, we're going to give away some Bluetooth speakers. What do you think? These are fairly special and limited Fascination Street podcast edition, as they have a little Fascination Street emblem on the end. This oblong Bluetooth speaker is about 8 inches tall and about 3 inches in diameter, and is IPX4 waterproof. So how do you win? Well, what I need all of you to do is post a short video to your Instagram story, your Facebook story, or even your TikTok, telling everybody why you love Fascination Street Podcast and which is your favorite episode. Make sure to tag the show in these videos, and each week I'll pick one winner to win one of these special limited edition Sylvania Bluetooth speakers, and I'll mail it to you. And I might even throw a couple of other Fascination Street pod swag in there as well. So tell a friend, tell all your friends, and include it in your stories on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. And don't forget to tag the show, Fascination Street Podcast. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2001 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is from the song Say My Name off the 2021 album Underdog Anthems, used with permission from Jax Hollow. If you like the show, tell a friend, subscribe, and rate and review the show on iTunes and wherever else you download podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there as well. Check me out on Vero at Fascination Street Pod and TikTok at Fascination Street Pod. And again, thanks for listening.